Will a vaccination be required to take a cruise? That's got to be the hottest question right now. Will you need a shot in the arm? No shot, no cruise. One cruise line's answered the question. One cruise line so far has said yes, we will require a vaccine. Which cruise line, and what does it all mean for the restart of cruising? Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cruise News Show. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise updates. Saga Cruises, a small cruise line in the UK, is mandating vaccines for all of their passengers before cruising can resume. That is big breaking news. That is the first cruise line out of the gate to mandate a vaccine, and it's significant. It's got a lot of ramifications. Let's try to break it down. First, let me tell you about Saga Cruises. Saga Cruises, two cruise ships currently in their fleet, two essentially brand new cruise ships. In the past, Saga's been one of those organizations that have bought ships from other places and brought them up to their Saga brand. Well, now they built their own two cruise ships. They have a ship that was built in 2019, the Spirit of Discovery, and then they have another new ship built in 2020, the Spirit of Adventure. Both of these ships were built under the same design. They house around 1,000 passengers, 999 passenger capacity, with about 540 crew members. So this starts to paint a picture. This is luxury, high-end cruising, boutique cruising, all-inclusive cruising, and they're looking to get started again. Now, the other interesting thing about Saga is they only allow passengers that are 50 years old or older. That's interesting. I can't even cruise on Saga right now, at least for another 8 months. So yeah, you got to have lived half a century. You got to have some coin to cruise on Saga, and it's a UK-based cruise line. Now, interestingly, if you dig into Saga's website, there are a few things that stick out. First of all, the question is, well, are there any exemptions to this vaccine policy? The answer is no. The decision's made that all passengers have to be vaccinated. Well, what if I refuse to take the vaccine? You will not be able to cruise on Saga. Another interesting thing is, will the crew be vaccinated? No. There's no requirement for the crew to be vaccinated. They feel that their comprehensive COVID protocols for the crew are sufficient. So vaccine required for passengers, not required for the crew. You have to make sure that your vaccine cycle is completed 14 days prior to your cruise. That means that you've had both shots, and you're not getting out of the health protocols. I know that's a question that everybody else asks. There's still going to be COVID testing before you get on the cruise ship, a requirement for that. Once you're on board, social distancing, and expanded cleaning, a double medical team. Quickly, if I can just diverge a little bit and talk about vaccination and health protocols and the philosophy behind it. I see a lot of interesting information in the comments. Let me explain it the best way that I know how, or at least from my perspective. COVID-19, highly contagious. And because it's highly contagious, it can infect a lot of people rapidly. Most of the people that contract this disease, they survive, but there is a small percentage of people that this will cost them their life. And we cannot predict with 100% accuracy who will survive the disease and who will not, as it affects people differently. And because it's highly contagious, because you can spread it without being sick. So the overarching philosophy for this thing, at least the one that I've been following, is you want the least amount of people to get infected with this virus, because even the healthy people, even the people that this virus will not affect in a negative way, which they'll recover quickly, they still run the risk of giving a killer virus to somebody in public that may not be able to just recover from this virus. And so a lot of the health protocols are built around this idea of not giving this virus to people that can't handle it. So the vaccine becomes the silver bullet. The way that it works is it's supposed to remove that threat of fatality. It's supposed to remove that threat of going to the hospital. It's supposed to, it doesn't really stop how contagious this virus is. It just stops the killer aspect of this virus. Then if you're in this scenario, we're not walking around giving out a killer virus. You're just giving out a virus that can be dealt out with, well, that puts us in a whole different scenario, right? And look, I know there's plenty of people out there, hey, look, what difference does it make? You know, some people will recover, some people won't. Few 100,000 people die, 1 million people die, who cares? You will care if that's your family member, right? You will care if it is somebody that you know. And I don't want to jump to the end where I have to learn to care after somebody in my family dies because of this virus. I'm just going to sit on the front end and go, what can I do to not give the killer virus to other people? I'm not going to soapbox it too much there, but that's the difference in philosophy for me. It is accurate that it is a numbers game, that right now in this scenario, more people will survive this thing. Many more people will survive this thing than will die from this thing. But I don't want anybody I know to die. I don't think anybody out there wants anybody they know to die. And so hopefully we're through that. The vaccine will make this killer virus less of a killer. And so now you have the cruise ships approaching this thing. If we can get vaccinated people on the cruise ship, this is a better scenario. So that brings us to 2021. That brings us to the cruise restart. That brings us to the biggest question. Will cruise lines go forward and try to do test sailings under health protocols, or will they wait it out for the vaccine? It sure does look like waiting for the vaccine is the way to go. Certainly, it's a risky proposition for the cruise line. It's a tough, this is a decision that I would hate to be making, because it's a double-edged sword a little bit, right? If you decide to go with the health protocols because you need some revenue, you're going to risk it for the biscuit to get cruising restarted early in 2021, the middle of 2021, before you can require your passengers to be vaccinated. You run the risk, right? You do all the testing, you do all the health protocols, but if you have a COVID outbreak, like I've said before, you're going to get one shot to get this going again. If you have a COVID outbreak and people are quarantined, all the bad stuff that's happened before, if you don't deal with it in a way that's good, the press is going to eat that up, and it's going to be game over for cruising. But the double-edged sword part is, how long do you wait before you have enough passengers that are vaccinated to get on a cruise ship? Or does that become a thing that you submit to the cruise line? Hey, cruise line, I'm double shotted up. I'm ready to go on a cruise. And then when they get enough people to fill up a cruise ship, then cruising resumes. And that is the scenario we find ourselves in today. And that will be the question we watch play out over the next few months. And what does that mean for people who won't take the vaccine? I got some thoughts on that. Real quickly, let me invite you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you like staying up to date on all the latest going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on these episodes. Thank you in advance. I still have this poll running on the community tab on our YouTube page. We asked the question about a week ago: will you get vaccinated to go on a cruise if it's a requirement? About 5,000 people have answered now. The percentages are still holding true. 77% of the people say yes, we will get the vaccine. 23% of the people say no, we will not get the vaccine. So what does this mean for the 23%? Is their cruise life over? Is that just the end of cruising? Or will they acquiesce? Will they take the vaccine so that they can cruise? That becomes the issue. Another interesting idea in this conversation is, what happens if ports require a vaccine? That maybe even takes the decision away from the cruise line. If all of a sudden the 3 ports of call that you're going to requires certification of vaccination before you get in, that's going to force the hand anyways. And so all these things we continue to watch. What will the cruise lines do? And what will that mean for the set of requirements for the passengers? As cruisers, that's what we're wondering. What are the requirements? What will the cruise experience be like? Saga, they're requiring a vaccination of their passengers. They would like to sail in the UK in May of 2021. It will be interesting if they are allowed to do so. It will be interesting if they get a cruise ship full of vaccinated passengers and cruising restarts again. Cruising will restart this month in Italy under the cruise bubble. MSC is going to be doing it again in Italy. And so at the same time, you're going to see cruising under the cruise bubble, under the safety bubble, and then eventually you'll see cruising under a vaccinated scenario. It will be interesting to compare and contrast those two experiences to see what's close to normal. Yeah, Interesting. I got a couple questions for you. Do you think this move by Saga will be the precedent, or do you think maybe because it's a 50-year-old and older cruise line, maybe that's why they're requiring that? Do you see Carnival? Do you see Royal Caribbean making this requirement? And if vaccination does become the rule and there's not really any way around that, will you continue to cruise or will you stop cruising? Let's continue the conversation below. Thank you so much for watching the show today. Hope you enjoyed it. Please show your support by hitting the like button. This is Tony with Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.